Hello! New video, new car. Check this thing out. You guys know how much I love VFs. Look at this. Absolutely beautiful car. So, this has been something that's been ongoing and planned for quite a while. Shane here, really nice car. Really nice car. Aftermarket bonnet, which just suits it perfectly. Aftermarket skirts, front and rear lips, and spoiler, and just, personally, I just reckon it looks freaking awesome. I reckon it looks really good. It all suits really well. It's a VF Series 2, so we've got an LS3 in here. It's a manual. Just a really nice car. This bonnet, I don't normally like aftermarket bonnets. Like I really, the Walkinshaw bonnets and stuff make me sick to my stomach. I don't like them at all. But I really like this. And I really like the fact that the vents are actually functional, because that is going to serve us very well for what we are doing with this car. But yeah, you'll see it soon when the bonnet's shut, but a huge fan of this bonnet. Sunroof. Just, anyway, you guys know that I just get wet for VFs. I'm a big fan. And this thing is going to be seriously cool. So, really excited about this build just because this bloke is happy to do everything right and everything properly, which makes us really excited. So, at the moment we're about to get some baselines in for this car. As always, see what it starts out as. Exciting stuff. So this thing's going to be completely forged LS3, CNC ported heads, one of our complete cam packages, studded top and bottom, all the regular fruit you all know. But yeah, regular cam package but with a forged bottom end. The reason it's going to be a forged bottom end is because we have a very exciting little thing to go on top here in the form of a Magnuson PI2650. So it's one of the new Maguson PI superchargers, which they claim are super efficient, this and that. They cost an arm and a leg. Compared to something like a Harrop, they're a lot more expensive, but they do claim to be a lot more efficient. So we're really excited to see how it goes because it's going to be our first time doing one of those. So it'll be full flex fueled, 2650 Magnum PI, manual. We're going to get the diff completely built. That's going to get done by Height Transmissions in Brendale with either an AI or a 4 Innovations fuel system, just depending on availability and everything else. Super cool supercharged setup with all our T's crossed and the I's dotted. So excited for it. We are really keen because obviously we love VFs and this build is just right up our alley. So like I said, it's been on the cards for a while. We've been planning this for a long time and here it finally is. So let's see what it makes stock and then we'll get into starting to pull it apart and get everything to where it's got to be for the next few months to get sorted. So this guy's not local, he's not even in the States, so he's traveled a long way for us to do this car and he really appreciates our work, which is always really nice as well. So just the combination of things just makes me really excited for this car and this build. Results are in. Pretty good result, really, for a stock one. Normally they're swinging for the fences. They're either pig rich or scary lean. This thing's actually quite good. This is probably one of the best stock calibrations we've seen on a Commodore, and it's making really good power for a stocker. So 280, I say stocker, but it does have extractors and a full exhaust. I think that's the only modifications. So 380, still though, 384 stock LS3 with just extractors and exhaust is quite impressive. And just the fact that the stock calibration is really good is also impressive. So awesome. This bloke has owned this car since brand new as well. So it hasn't been touched. He'd know, we'd know if it had been. So we know it's completely stock, just suspension and exhaust. So really cool. All right. Time to start pulling it apart. Let's get it. Righto guys, I've just got home. It's been a long day, but Rex and Bo, mostly Bo I think, have been killing it with this VF today. Engine's out. Bo's got the rockers off. so I can go outside and get a big clean up, and we'll get this pulled down, get to the machine shop. Did you get the diff out?
Not yet. Not that quick.
No. Oh, come on. Don't be like that, bro. You are that quick. But no, it's good. Get it cracking. It's freaking cold, by the way. Really, really cold. Oh, here we go, the big dog. We're just, Rex gonna dummy up a lot of this blower stuff to make sure we're not gonna have any issues before we go ahead and pull the engine right down. But yeah, really, really cool. It's the new Magnuson PI2650. Looking good. Keen on this one. We've got one diff out, ready to go to the diff shop to get completely built and upgraded. That's going to Hart Transmission Products in Brendale. So they'll be doing that. And oddly enough, as Bo pointed out, we've got two different size half shafts here. Two different size axles, half shafts. Bit of a weird one. Never seen that before. Unsure why that happens. Might have to do a bit of research and ask Hart Transmissions what the go is there. See if they know. But yeah, so anyway, now we've got to get the thing rolling again so we can get it out of here while we wait for that to get built and that to get built, machined and everything else. So yeah, be a bit of downtime from here now. All right, so Bo's pulled this all apart. We're ready to go to the machine shop. Look at this. It's intact. That might be the first one we've ever seen that's not broken.
Good for another 1,000k.
Yeah, that's it. Good for another tank of fuel. So there has been something go through this engine, and the crank would need a linish. You can see that's number one main bearing. You can see something's been through it. Unsure what. The rest of it doesn't look too bad. I don't think it's particularly IK's engines. It doesn't particularly matter to us because the decision has been made to go to a forged crank as well as our forged rods and pistons.
Just a couple of those lifters have got the little...
Yeah, bit of marks. So something's been through it. But
nothing major.
Yeah, nothing that couldn't be sorted out. But anyway, either way, for us, it doesn't really matter because we'll be going to a forged crank along with our forged rods. So happy days. Rightio, guys. So Bo's got the LS3 completely pulled down out of the VF, and the block is ready to go to the machine shop to get started. I may have even already filmed this because I think I filmed that crank little thing. Anyway, it's pulled down, it's ready to go. Now, he cleaned up the heads today. The heads are boxed up. They're ready to go to CNC, and they will get CNC'd. I've confirmed with our transmission shop to receive the diff and get it built. I've asked them about the difference in the half shafts and the axles, and they said that is normal. Apparently that is a normal thing for VEVF. Apparently it was brought in by Holden to try and limit or mitigate axle tramp. He didn't know why or how it works, but apparently that's why they did it. But not concerned about them for the power we want to make, and it is a normal thing for them to be two different sizes. So at least that's answered. Now, as far as our diff rating goes, it's going to be 800 horsepower rated. It's what it's about as far as they can go with one of those diffs before you start going to the full GDS, bigger rear end, which we don't want to do because it's a lot of work. It's full cradle diff, everything. So that's the last thing we really want to do at this point. So if we have to limit power or pull power back to our original goal of around that 800 for that reason, well then so be it. It is what it is. But you know, by the time you start going full rear end conversion, it's a lot of work and a lot of money. So anyway, Bo's here now, putting another VE back together. Really nice car, this one. This is also a 400 cube stroker aspirated thing that we're tuning that had some fuel pressure issues. So we had to replace the fuel module in the tank, and Bo's just putting it back together. But this would be a cool car. So this guy is planning on turboing in future, maybe next year. So looking forward to when it comes back. It is a really nice car. I really like the color and the wheel combo, and yeah, it's just a nice car. But anyway, I'm not going to make a video on that car on its own, so I thought I'd just chuck it in here real quick. I think it made 469 or something, close to 470 at the wheels. That seems like it's pretty low compression, so we're pretty excited to put some boost in it, but got half decent cam in it, and as we all know, between compression, head flow, and big cam, it's just not knock limited. It needs more compression to make the power it's really capable of. But yeah, obviously it's going to be good for turbo application in future, but looking forward to turboing that with one of Darcy's Killer Boost kits later on. All right, boys and girls, so after a bit of a eventful process, we've finally got the big LS3 back from machining. It's ready to start pretty well going together. So we ended up having to buy new pistons. The 4065s weren't going to cut it. The piston bore clearance was just too much. It would have been, like it would have worked, but it would have been a really rattly cold start, which I didn't want for a client's car. Not for this particular car, you know. We're probably too much of a perfectionist for that sort of thing, but anyway. I'd be happy enough to chuck it in a stock LS3 block for one of my own engines. If it was mine, I wouldn't care, but I didn't want a client's car to have that real piston slappy startup for the sake of a set of pistons. So we're now going to 4070s. Bo's just done all the ring gaps this morning, so the rings are all gapped, ready to go. Yeah, had it all balanced with our blower drive and everything else ready to go. And we've obviously got our spool crank, which is keyed, and that's all. Spick and span, very good. Pretty run-of-the-mill standard setup, just spool forged 3622 crank. We've got spool drag pro I-beam rods and some billet pistons, 10.3 to 1 comp with upgraded double wall pins. And hopefully this is all enough with some 2000 series head studs, main studs, all the rest. And we're also going to be using a improved racing girdle and stump baffle, being that this is manual and everything else that's going to be going on. I figured these were some very good little additions to make sure this thing is as safe as it can get. So as you can see from the improved racing, they're actually just a crank scraper. They're not actually a girdle per se, but they are, you know, a couple of mil thick and billet alloy. And once you have that tying in all of your mains, hold on, I'll get it out so I can show you properly. So there you go, that's the actual sort of girdle plate. And you can see that that's actually a good 4 mil thick billet alloy. And that sort of bolts down on the actual main caps. And then this is the actual crank scraper, which is about another 2-3 mil billet alloy again, which then bolts in more positions to the actual windage tray plate thing. And this does tie in quite a lot through the mains. Now, the biggest issue that we have with alloy blocks when you're pushing big power is block twist. The blocks sort of twist, you know, engine plates front and back help with that a lot, and any sort of girdle. And these things, like I said, they're not intended or produced to be, you know, a girdle per se. They are a aftermarket crank scraper, but it is quite a lot of stiffness to add to that block just to try and stop getting that twist. So just take all steps we can to make sure this thing's happy and healthy at the power we want to make for as long as we can make it. But anyway, so yeah, we'll start the engine assembly process. Get it happening. But yeah, still very much looking forward to this build, this whole setup. I think it's going to be schmicko. As you've probably seen from previous builds, we were drilling and tapping these for 1/8 MPT bungs to just eliminate the possibility of these ever leaking oil, which is all well and good, but it is quite a lengthy process. The bungs aren't expensive, but there is cheaper ways to do it. But mostly it's just a really, really long, annoying process, and it takes quite a long time. Now, they make these, which we have been starting to use more and more on just cam kits and that sort of thing, because there was a shortage of L98 valley plates for a long time. Couldn't actually get L98 valley plates, so we started using these, and I really like the idea of them. So they're a knock-in plug that just knocks into the DoD tower, plugs it off. However, because they protrude a little bit from the top, they've got threads in the top so you can pull them out with a threaded bolt. But that protrudes a little bit, so when you do them in the car and stuff, obviously the big advantage of this is you can do them during a cam kit. There's no drilling, there's nothing abrasive, which means you can just do it with a complete bottom end together. But the problem is they protrude a little bit out the top, which means you have to put the DoD valley plate back on because it's got the clearance in the top to clear the little protrusion, whereas the other valley plates, they contact it, they hit it, you can't actually use them once you knock these in. A lot of people, we've done it in the past as well, is just put an L98 valley plate on it. It's got the seals in the top. You're laughing normally, but you do run the risk if ever one of those seals fails, it is going to push a heap of oil out of that DoD tower and you're going to lose a lot of oil pressure and potentially be in a motor. So was planning on using these for this, which is all well and good, except for the fact that we can't use a DoD valley plate because it's supercharged. So because it's supercharged, it's got its own Magnuson valley plate that came with the supercharger kit, and there is no room on that valley plate for any of this to fit. So this is the valley plate here, designed to fit underneath the Maggie, and as you can see, there's no room in there. Once you put a seal in there, that's flat, that's flush, that should be sitting down almost flush with the tower, except for the little bit of a seal that's going to be between them. So that wasn't going to work. Now, we do have 6 1/8 MPT alloy bungs, so I didn't have enough to drill and tap it. So I had the idea of maybe getting the drill press and drilling a little bit of a recess in the valley plate for the protrusion of these to fit. But then I had an even better idea. I thought, why don't I just drill a little bit down in the valley, in the DoD towers, so that these will actually go all the way down until they're flush with the top and not protrude. So that little end will fit in there, which means I'll be able to knock these all the way down till they're completely flush. Okay, and then the valley plate will go straight on once the seals are in it. So happy days. Obviously, you still can't do this when it's in the car because you can't be drilling a block while the bottom end's assembled. But you know, for this instance, it's no worse than drilling and tapping. It's going to take a lot less time, gets the job done. DoD towers will be blocked and the valley plate will go back on. So that's what I'm doing. Quick little drill. Once this is done, Bo's already gapped the rings for this thing. Bo gapped the rings the other day. So rings are gapped, which means that this block, once I've drilled these, will be able to have its final wash, complete wash, bottle brush, and start getting prepped for assembly, or in our case, we're going to do some bearing clearances first. So that's what we're doing with the DoD towers. Righto, Bo's here. He's just done the final cleanup on this block after I drilled the DoD towers to suit our knock-in plugs. So that'll be that done in a minute. I've just finished putting all of the bearings and the rods now that I know sort of what size we're going to need, and we'll start doing some clearancing and assigning and putting some stuff together. So the plan with the knock-in DoD plugs has worked a treat. They will work fine. Happy days. Valley cover will go on, still seal. No tapping needed, didn't take as long as drilling and tapping. Awesome. This crank's really good, really consistent crank, happy with that. Bearing clearances come back all good. I got one that's a bit tighter than the rest, but the rest are all really consistent, so I'm not gonna worry too much about it. And yeah, clearance is clearance, it's good. So time to go on to mains pretty much now. Righto guys, mains have come back all good, so now it's just time to pull these caps, get this crank in, double check our thrust. Hopefully that's all right. Generally they're usually pretty good when it's just this sort of thing. It's been a while since I built an engine that didn't have a Torrington thrust and I didn't have to spend hours messing around with the thrust. But our center main, thrust main's a little tight, a little tighter than I'd like, but again, obviously there's nothing you can do with the thrust main. You can't go fishing with the thrust. So it is what it is. There's still clearance, 2.5 thou, nearly 2.5 thou. I like seeing a bit bigger, but it's not gonna bother. She'll be a thin oil for this one, but yeah, looking good. Righto guys, end float's checked, it's pretty good. I just finished cleaning up all the pistons and wrist pins and stuff from getting them back from machining. I did have to linish one of the wrist pins. Had a little bit of, watermark on it, but that's all good. So I'm pretty much ready to start putting pistons on rods and putting rings that are already gapped on pistons ready to go. And I just gotta tack on this reluctor wheel and bottle brush the crank and clean it up, give it a final clean, and then it's ready to sort of go in and just start assembling, which is always nice.